Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. I'm Matt. This is the Football Politics Show. We got 3 topics to discuss today that are circulating in the media, especially The Guardian. That's our main source of today's chat. And here comes that famous intro. Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Football Politics Show where we talk things off the field of play. Hope you're having a glorious weekend. It's kind of cloudy out there today where I'm from. Don't know what it's like where you are in the UK or around the world, but I hope you're having a good one either way. Today, we're talking about 3 topics, and now I was looking through the media to see what was happening off the field, looking at things that are to do with FIFA and new competitions, etc., and other topics in politics / football. So we're going to start off with some breaking news in the last day or so. USA to host the new 32-team Club World Cup in 2025. Now, they're hosting quite a lot of things. They got the Copa America, I believe, next year, which is going to be amazing, right? I think USA have had it quite a few times, to be fair. Copa America is not like the European Championships. They do like to showcase it around America, and sometimes even America have been in it. So this will be interesting to see the new Club World Cup. I've put a poll in as well if you want to tell us whether you like the new format. And I'm going to share something now just to sort of show you what the news is saying about it exactly. So Europe will send 12 clubs to its expanded competition, US hosting 2024 Copa America and co-hosting the 2026 World Cup. So they've got a lot going on, haven't they, USA at the moment? Especially with Messi and Busquets, I believe, have now signed for Inter Miami. So, mate, they're really reeling it in at the moment, especially David Beckham. What a buy that was to get into Miami. I think it was for 25 million, but that's another story for another day. So the United States will host FIFA's first expanded World Cup in 2025. Football's global governing body has announced FIFA's president Gianni Infantino confirmed the 32-team tournament on the eve of the 2022 World Cup final. Among the participants will be 12 European clubs, including the Champions League winners from 2021 to 24, meaning Chelsea, Real Madrid and Manchester City have qualified. The remaining European clubs will be determined by a ranking based on the same 4-year period. Now, look, I had my own idea of what I thought the World Club Cup would or should look like. I did feel that they should be putting in the Europa League finalists. So what my theory was doing is having it every 2 years. So 2025 would be the first one, and you'd have the 2024 winners of the Champions League, 2025 winners of the Champions League, and the same for the Europa League for both years. So you get them 4 teams in from Europe, plus a playoff between the 2 winners of the Europa Conference League. Look, because I feel like football, you have to go on merit. So I don't understand why they're just going to be able to pick teams on form in the Champions League to be able to go into that. It should be Europa League and Conference League, especially that Conference League playoff to get into the World Club Cup between the winners of the Europa League conference that year and the previous year. But either way, this is what they're doing. The other 20 slots will be filled by 6 clubs from South America, including the Copa Libertadores winners between 2021 and 2024, 4 from the North Central America and Caribbean confederations, in principle, the 2021-24 CONCACAF Champions League winners, 4 clubs, each from Africa and Asia, also based on the respective Champions League winners. 1 club from Oceania, the highest ranked club from its 2021-24 Champions League winners, and 1 club from the host country. Okay. So the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 will be the pinnacle of elite professional men's football, Infantino said. With the required infrastructure in place, together with a massive local interest, the United States is the ideal host to kick off this new global tournament. And like I was saying, it kind of probably is, to be fair. Look at what they've done into Miami in the last couple of days, getting Busquets and Messi, and I don't know. Things seem to be looking good for football in America. Like I said, they're getting the Copa America as well. They're getting this. They've got the World Cup in 2026. They're hosting it with Mexico and Canada. So interesting times for football in America. But let's carry on reading this here. The US will also host the 2024 Copa America and the co-host the 2026 World Cup with Mexico and Canada. The current version of the Club World Cup, an annual competition with 7 teams, will be discontinued after this year's tournament in Saudi Arabia in December. So yeah, there is. I believe there is no Club World Cup. So Man City will have to play in like the 32 team one. So I wonder what you think of that. I've put in the chat a poll. Do you like the new format of the Club World Cup? Let us know. What do you think? Having Man City and Chelsea already in it, Real Madrid too. I don't really understand though quite how they're going to try and add the other teams in from Europe on form. I don't really understand that. I really do feel it should have been Europa League. There should have been a Conference League battle to get that extra place. But look, we'll see how it goes. I always said that they should not mess with the actual World Cup because they were trying to make that 2 years. Obviously, Arsene Wenger is a part of the FIFA board, and he really wanted to have the World Cup every 2 years. But it's like, why don't you expand the Club World Cup? Because you see how South American teams, especially when they reach the finals of the Club World Cup as we know it with the 7 teams, they take it seriously because it's a major tournament and, predominantly against the European side. So it's like, how can we make football around the world bigger and clubs around the world become a bit more on the same level as South American and the European markets? And you have to get them involved in major competitions. This is a reason why you go on tours around America and Australia and that in the summer, because it's the only time you can really play them teams. And let's be honest, it's friendlies and never get to really battle against the best starting 11 of, say, Man United if they were playing someone like Melbourne City. So this is good. I think this is good. It might take quite a while, but honestly, I can't wait for it. In the summer, 2025, imagine this great tournament of club competition, like a World Cup. Let me know what you think, though, because, of course, everybody has their difference in opinions. Got some messages here from some really cool fellow DJs, especially Brush. Big up, Brush. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes, please do that if you can. It would mean so much. We are coming back. Apologies for not being around. Just been on a little hiatus. Summertime's here. I'm not tribal with football, so I like to take a breather. And football with Man United as well, to be fair, has been getting me down quite a lot the last couple of years, and it kind of took its toll this year. Even though we did much better, it's just still a Glazier thing. That's another discussion for another day. Big up Niall Kane. Good afternoon, Matt. Thank you, mate. And Bill Baggio again. It should be on merit. Winners of all European trophies and the same in other countries. Absolutely. That's what exactly I was saying. Why can't, let's say West Ham, right? Let's say 2025 is the new Club World Cup. West Ham will go into a playoff with next season's winners of that competition. Wouldn't that be cool? And then West Ham could potentially play in the Club World Cup on merit. Because look, if you win that, you go into the Europa League, don't you? And if you win the Europa League, then you go into the Champions League. And I don't know why they're just not allowing the Europa League and the Europa Conference League, because they have a Sudamericana in South America, which is the equivalent of the Europa League, and I don't think they're getting a sniff from what I'm reading. It's all pretty much champions. And I get this, this whole thing of everyone saying top four, that isn't really a Champions League, bloody blah. I get that. But when it's in Europe and you've got 32 teams playing in the tournament, you're going to have to add a few more from the dominant leagues like the Premier League, La Liga, aren't you, to be honest? Because you can't just... if you had 32 teams from all over Europe, you'd be like getting, Tractor FC and stuff like that, and let's be honest, those leagues are nowhere near some of the other leagues like Portuguese League, the Eredivisie. These leagues deserve their teams to be in it too, because Ajax, of course, have got a very big history in Europe. Thank you, everyone. There is a poll, like I said. Please let us know what you think, and we'll look at that at the end and see what people have said, yes or no, on whether you think the new format of the Club World Cup is any good. Right, let's move on, shall we? Let's move on. We have got another topic, and the next topic is to do with the Champions League final, Man City and Inter Milan. And of course, there was a lot of trouble getting to the game. The reports I was hearing from Manchester City fans was the fact that they were so far out the way from the stadium. I think it was something like 17 miles or something like that. It was quite far out, and there was lots of traffic jams and lots of issues. People weren't allowed to drink water on the coaches that they gave to the fans to be able to get to the stadiums, etc. So let's have a little read of what they're saying about this then, because I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard a lot of reports from both Inter Milan fans and AC Milan and Man City fans. So let's have a look. What have UEFA been saying? So UEFA's Alexander Seferin admits to problems at Champions League final. Not everything was perfect, concedes UEFA president. You know what? I haven't. Oh, yes, I have done it. Sorry. Apologies. UEFA's president, Alexander Seferin, has admitted not everything was perfect for supporters at the Champions League final in Istanbul. Well, we all know that. I mean, you're a bit late to the party there. Manchester City supporters reported issues with transport to the out-of-town Ataturk Stadium for the showpiece match on the 10th of June against Internacional, as well as lack of toilets and limited access to water. Football Supporters Europe is gathering fan accounts from Istanbul in order to compile a report to present to UEFA. Seferin, speaking at the European Football Fans Congress in Manchester, said this year's men's and women's club competition finals proved UEFA had learned from past mistakes. But he added, we're well aware that in Istanbul, not everything was perfect, and I'm certainly not playing down the problems encountered by some. I mean, these are quite huge problems. Number one, there's reports of, I think, fans from Besiktas, they were offered this stadium to be their home stadium, and they didn't want it because it's so far out of town. It's so hard to get to. It's not anywhere near the main centre of Istanbul. Why they picked that one and why they didn't pick any other stadiums in Istanbul, which they could have easily done, beats me. Why they made it harder to get to. These sorts of occasions, Champions League finals, World Cup finals, should be held at stadiums that are easy to get in and out to. You go to a gig 9.9 times out of 10, it's a pretty easy night. You might have to queue up for a tiny little bit, but you get in, you get out fine, and you can get on public transport, you can get home. It's cool. I think, to be fair, sometimes gigs, there's more people. So I don't understand the difficulty with this Champions League final. They had plenty of time to organise it properly. And you're hearing about people having to piss out of bus windows because they weren't stopping to let people go to the toilet, weren't allowing people to eat or drink. And they were on these buses for sometimes 8 or 9 hours for some people, the lucky ones less. So UEFA really do need to sort themselves out. And look what happened in Paris the year before. You was expecting that this year would be hosted very, very well. And you can't completely blame UEFA on this. You have to look at the authorities in Istanbul. You know, is there enough talk between the two camps about how to host these sorts of things? Because at the end of the day, if you're hosting something, you want to show a good impression of your city, don't you? You want to show that you can host people and make them feel at home, make them feel welcome. And clearly from the reports from both sets of fans, it wasn't the case. He also says, Seferin, but let us continue working together to improve what we can improve. I'm thinking in particular of transport links to better understanding the hosting of disabled supporters and access to water and toilets for everyone. I mean, that should be one of the first things in the book. Having access to toilets, a human right to go to the toilet, and there wasn't really much of that going on. And water in a place like Istanbul, Turkey, super hot, and you got fans sitting on buses for 6, 8, 9 hours. How can, I don't even think that should be something you have to go and tell everybody. Surely people and the coaches knew how hot it was, and the fact that people needed to dehydrate, or they were dehydrating. Sorry, not dehydrate, rehydrate. But yeah, look, UEFA, I think they need to get a better understanding with the police and the government in whatever country that they're hosting it. I think that's pretty much it. I can assure you that next year's Champions League final, Wembley and Euro 2024 in Germany will be a unique experience for fans. Well, we know what happened to England at the Euro finals as well, with all those people breaking in. Of course, there were people that didn't have tickets, and that's down to policing and the government in the UK, to be fair. That you couldn't really ask Wembley to do much about that. It was a final. It should have been hosted a lot better. Let's hope that the final next year, Champions League at Wembley, will be good. I might even head down there, actually. Sounds like a good idea. Not to try and get in. I'm not going to try and break in or anything like that, but just like to be as close as I can to the event. If it's Man United, I'd love to go and get a ticket, but prices will be high, and I very much doubt it will be Man United, but you never know. You never know. So let's just finish up on here. An independent report into the chaos at the match in the French capital found UEFA bore primary responsibility for what almost became a mass fatality catastrophe. Seferin said, given what some of you experienced recently, I would understand if I got a cold reception. I also came here to say sorry. We would love to erase events that happened last year. Everyone welcomed the decision to move the Champions League final from St. Petersburg to Paris, and we know what happened. Good intentions are often not enough. We know that, and we are sorry for that. I think we should roll up our sleeves and ensure that attending a football match remains a unique and unforgettable experience for everyone. Exactly. How many times have you got to try and get it right, though? That's what I don't understand, how UEFA can't literally just host something. You look, Glastonbury's on at the moment. There's about 250,000 people or something over the weekend that go. And it's hosted pretty much brilliantly every year. You never hear anything wrong. I know it's a different occasion. The passion in football is can be very tribal compared to music, where you're going there for the love of music, aren't you? That's why I love music more, people. Sorry to say. We got some comments here. Big up to Amonde Juma. Yo, Matt, respect, love. How are you? How are you the go-to for international updates? Well, man, I just woke up this morning. I was looking through the news and I was like, I need to speak about off-field stuff, man. Bill Baggio, stop putting the finals in places which cannot cope. And when they think they can cope, give them the chance to host a friendly and build up from there to then eventually hosting a final. Completely agree. Absolutely agree with that. But I guess it's the Paris thing, I think, Bill, that the issue is, isn't it? Because they host many different sporting occasions and they've done really well. And they fluffed that one up completely. Yes, we know it was moved from St. Petersburg to Paris, and it was quite a short time. But I mean, they had enough time. They had 3 or 4 months, and it's not like I say, it's not like they've never done this before. But I completely agree with you. If these places really want to host these things, these occasions, then they need to show that they can do it, and maybe give them, I don't know, an under-21 tournament or something, just to show that they can achieve this. But I also think the communication between both UEFA and the governments and police forces in these countries needs to be a lot better, because saying that you need to make sure that there are enough toilets for people, I mean, like I said, that should have been on the list from the start. Letting people go to the toilet. Can we make sure, UEFA, that you do that next time? I'm pretty sure Wembley will make sure it's got plenty of toilets. But come on, that was crazy. And Monty says everybody should get the opportunity to host major events. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely, I do. I think everywhere. It is a shame, actually, that they don't pick more places in. Well, if we're talking about European football as well, I don't understand why they don't. I think Azerbaijan, Baku, I like to see it there, but I think again they could have done better with transport and getting there and put on more flights, etc. And yeah, apparently hotels isn't like Qatar. I guess they had to build more hotels to sort of facilitate the amount of fans that go. So that's always got to be put into perspective, hasn't it? But I do agree with you, Monday. I think it should be held. Whoever can do it, to be fair, and it shouldn't always be the elite countries either. Like Wembley. How many times is Wembley getting it now? Again, I know they got it because it was 125th or 150th anniversary of the FA, or whenever it was. I understand that, but we keep getting it every 5 or 7 years. And there's plenty of places, plenty of football clubs in Europe that have got lovely stadiums and they're in lovely cities. So yeah, completely agree. Big up to Bobby K for the virtual spud. Smash the like, share, subscribe if you can. The poll is still up. Let's see what the poll's saying. What is the poll saying? Oh, no, 67%. Wow. Okay, cool. See, I prefer that the Club World Cup has got more teams in it. And I like the fact that it's in the summer because, okay, look at the summer right now. It's boring. All we've got is cricket to watch. Of course, the Women's World Cup's coming up this summer. So I'm looking forward to that. And we've got the under-23s, I think, coming up this summer too. So there is some things going on. But yeah, it'd be nice to say, look, we've got a Club World Cup coming up in a week or two. That's going to last for 2 or 3 weeks, or whatever it's going to be, probably 3 weeks. But yeah, look, I understand everybody's opinions on it, but I just didn't like the 7 club one. I didn't like the fact that it was at the time that it was. Sometimes you'd miss it, but oh my God, are we in the Club World Cup at the moment? The advertisement on it was just terrible. And there's a market for that Club World Cup. There really is. Because, imagine look, as a Man United fan, having Man United in it, having Real Madrid in there, having LAFC in there, or Inter Miami, let's say, with Messi, it'd be bloody great. Having Fluminense, big up to Mali, having Melbourne City. And like I said, going back onto the first topic, apologies, but this will help generate more for clubs around the world. The reason why football is growing, because obviously European football people well into it, but we want to try and grow it in other countries. Like Australia needs it as well. It needs a World Cup, Australia, to be fair. I know, Monday, you'll be with me on that. New Zealand and Australia needs a World Cup. It's getting the women's one this year, so that's a good start. But hopefully next time or so, it should be. Actually, I hope Uruguay gets the 2030 World Cup, because that will be the 100-year anniversary of the first ever World Cup, and they held it, or they hosted it as well, didn't they? I don't know if they won it. Did they win it? They did, actually. I think they did. And then they won it in Brazil, didn't they? Brazil have never won it at home. So yeah, basically, I agree with everybody in the comments there. Let's see if we can try and get it to other cities in Europe and try and work together and make it a better experience for fans, because you're meant to go and enjoy watching a football match, aren't you? You're not meant to be pissing out of bus windows, puking out of bus windows, and not being allowed to drink or eat on a bus that's going to be 8 hours in the hot sun of Turkey. Pretty simple, really, isn't it? Could do better than that, UEFA. It's really, really bad. 100% Oz needs a World Cup. It would improve the game. Absolutely would, mate. And it's a very good topic we're going to talk about next on Monday, because it's to do with Australia. And, well, let's just go into it, shall we? Let's take this off. Apologies. So the Afghanistan women's team exiled to Australia. That happened a year ago. Now we know what's going on. Kind of know what's going on in Afghanistan. I'm not going to go deep into the situation, but obviously the Taliban kicked out the US and the UK, etc. Everybody that was there that shouldn't have probably been there have been kicked out. And since then, FIFA have not allowed the Afghan women's team to be recognised as a football team. They're not allowed to fly the flag. They're not allowed to wear the colours. And they had to literally burn all their shirts in order to get out of the country, because they didn't want to be recognised as someone in the sports industry from Afghanistan leaving, because the Taliban would probably want to use that to their advantage. So they exiled out to different places. I know Doha in Qatar. Doha was one of the places that a lot of players went to. Academies have gone to Portugal, and the national women's team are actually in Melbourne. And let's have a little look, and we'll explain a little bit more from the article about the situation. Sorry, let me just share this for you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. I got rid of it. See, I got rid of it. What am I doing? There we go. We're back. Okay. So the UK Parliament calls on FIFA to support exiled Afghanistan women's team. Infantino urged to support Afghan women on world stage. Letter backs call made by Malala Yousafzai and Khalida Popal. So why can't I read the rest of that article? It's not allowing me to read the rest of the article, is it, people? Why is that? It was a minute ago. Let me refresh. There we go. More than 100 parliamentarians have written to Gianni. It's gone again. Look. I'll do it later. That's why. Bloody thing. It wasn't up there earlier and I just lose my way. More than 100 parliamentarians have written to Gianni Infantino urging the FIFA president to do more to support exiled Afghan female footballers and ensure Afghan women are able to compete on the international stage. The letter backs a call made by the Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai and Afghanistan women's national team founder Khalida Popal in The Guardian in January. Yousafzai and Popal have co-written the letter with Julie Elliott, the MP for Sunderland Central, and it has been signed by 76 members of the UK Parliament and parliamentarians from Australia, Portugal and Italy. It calls on the governing body to do more to push back against restrictions placed on Afghan women's participation in sport. Elliott said the right to play football and the right to compete should be protected. FIFA should uphold their commitments to equality, and I believe that FIFA should be doing much more to support these women to regain their place on the world stage. The support that this letter has got from colleagues across the House and across the world shows the widespread support for the women of Afghanistan, both those in exile and those still living in the country. Yes, because by the way, not everybody could get out, and their right to live how they choose. During the withdrawal of international forces from Afghanistan in 2021, the senior women's national team was evacuated to Australia, the country co-hosting the 2023 Women's World Cup with New Zealand. They continue to function as a team supported by Melbourne Victory and compete in the 7th tier as Melbourne Victory FC. Several national youth team players escaped to Portugal and Italy, and about 30 development team players, including some with call-ups to the national youth teams, some from the league winning Herot provincial team reached the UK with the support of Leeds United. Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan, women have been banned from playing sport and the national team have not been formally recognised and able to compete in international competition. FIFA has said that the selection of players and teams representing a member association is considered an internal affair. Now, I want to know, people, what you make of this. It's really nice to see Australia actually doing this for them. It's Melbourne Victory as well, I believe, and they are actually playing in the Australian League, Women's League, maybe 3 or 4 tiers down as Melbourne Victory women's football team. I believe it is. So amazing from them to be able to do this for them, because you got to look at this. No matter the politics, people just are trying to live and they have dreams. And some of these women, their dreams were just to play for the country. Football. They just want to play football. They just want to be successful. They want to do what me and you love. And for them not to have the chance to be able to play, I think it's crazy. I don't understand why FIFA have a problem with it. You know, they've obviously banned Russia from playing, haven't they? So I guess they say it's something to do with the standards and not dropping the level of standards. And I can kind of understand that, but this is very different. This is very, very different. The Taliban have just taken back their own country. That's pretty much what it is. These women still want to play underneath that flag. They still want to play for Afghanistan. It is still a country, and it still should be recognized, because it's not really a political problem now, is it? The Taliban are running the country. There is no more USA. There is no more UK. There is no more Russia. There is no more China. There is nobody now really helping the country. It's just pretty much run by the Taliban. So saying that they have to be exiled from playing national football is crazy. You got to help protect these players. This was their dream. And the whole point of FIFA is to push football out to the world and try and help develop the youth into their dreams and get in their dreams. So it would be nice to see Infantino maybe address this, seeing as the World Cup is in Australia and New Zealand this year. I'm pretty sure the women of Afghanistan national team will be around watching the games, etc. I'm not sure if they're actually in it, because they can't be, can they? That's the whole point of the conversation. So Popao said, we want a permanent solution to this situation. We want FIFA to do more to recognise the team, to help us organise a committee that helps and maintains the talent that was so prevalent in Afghanistan before our rights were taken away. So yeah, let's see if FIFA fancy doing anything about that. Let's see if Gianni Infantino actually fancies doing something about that. I don't think he will, because it's not really going to generate any money, is it? But you should be helping out. The whole point of FIFA trying to get football around the world, you should be helping these women play football. Yes, you don't have to help them become... Well, you have to help them become elite. It's down to them whether they do become elite, because you have to put in the hard work. But you've got to give them the opportunity to be able to get there. And if teams like Melbourne Victory are doing it and you're not even doing much yourself, I just find that quite despicable. That's why I'm bigging up Australia right now for letting them in to come and play there and use the facilities and helping them chase and reach their dreams. I think it's important. I think the women's game is very important. And the market for it is huge. You look at the last European finals for the women, no, not the European finals. I think it was the last Women's World Cup. It was 1.2 billion or whatever viewers. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Red Devil Studio here to drop a like and support, buddy. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Bill says, politics and war is a load of bollocks, ain't it? Why can't we just live and let live? Exactly, mate. Exactly. Politics to me is life. That's the thing. I know people like to say that they don't really like politics, etc. But people say politics is not in football. Yes, it is. Half the shows we see on YouTube today, something to do with money, something to do with the power of a club or agents, or it pretty much always is. Even when we're talking about result, it always goes back to something that happened. That's just life. There's life around a football game. There are people in the stadiums. They're living their lives. They're there to enjoy it. It's entertainment. So yeah, there is a lot of politics in football, but I'm not here to like try and make you think anything differently. I think the good thing about politics in football is that you can have a discussion about it. And there's a lot of information when it comes to football and politics that you can find out about things and research. And yeah, I didn't realize that the Afghanistan women were out there in Australia and they were trying to fight for their right to play for their national team and fly their badge. And I just think it's quite important because they're not asking for a lot, are they? It's not a political statement. They're not saying it's not like the Ukrainian thing right now, where I know a lot of people are 50-50 on it, like it is a political thing. So I get that, but this is just someone wanting, not even someone, a group of young women wanting to play football and asking if they can be allowed, because Afghanistan is a place on the map. Whether FIFA recognize it or not, I think it's bullshit. Sorry, it's midday. I shouldn't be saying that word, but there you go. It's bullshit. So that's pretty much from me today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It means a lot. Great few people in the comments as well. I haven't seen in a while. I'll try and do as many shows as I can on football politics during the summer transfer window. Going to do a transfer show, hopefully, with Mr. B, Anthony, and a few other people as well. Mondi, if you're about, Brush, if you're about too. And anybody else who wants to come on that was in the comments, or anybody that come and viewed in, just reach out to us on Twitter, Football United TV, Instagram, Football United TV, or write in the comments below here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. Really good chat, interesting. I only done my research in the last day or two, and I didn't want to have like a pad and pen or anything. I wanted to try and remember everything, and I hope I did all right. Bill Baggio, cheers, Matt. Great chat. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you again very soon. Until next time, take care, have a glorious weekend, and stay classy.